Good morning, all. Suburban Sentinel here, coming to you once again from deep inside the Arabian Peninsula. And welcome to part 2 in our mini-series on gold. In part 1, we did a bit of an introduction and primer on buying gold, and I will leave a link to that video in the description box below. I was going to jump right into gold buying strategies. However, I received a bunch of private messages discussing the relative advantages and disadvantages of buying gold. And I think it would be a good idea to explore those in greater detail for the benefit of all of you folks out there. Again, my brief disclaimer, I'm not a financial advisor. I would not presume to tell anyone what to do with their money or other property. I have no particular expertise in the precious metals or other markets. This is simply food for thought. I'm going to start off with the disadvantages of gold. And by the way, for the purpose of this video, when I say gold, I'm talking about physical gold, the pretty shiny heavy metal, rather than the paper gold that's traded on the COMEX markets and that sort of thing. The first and foremost disadvantage of gold for preppers, at least that I see, is that gold has rather limited utilitarian value. You cannot eat it, you cannot drink it, or treat wounds or illnesses with it. I realize that gold does have some utilitarian value, most of which is limited to the electronics or other industrial applications. And that is why, for preppers, I believe that having food, water, medical supplies, and the like are much more important, or at least a higher priority, than having precious metals. Another downside to physical gold is liquidity. In modern economies, we are not used to using gold as a medium of exchange or money. Most people today don't go try to buy a cart full of groceries with a 5 or 10 gram gold piece. Liquidity refers to how difficult or easy it is to unlock the wealth stored in your asset, whether it's a security, a piece of gold, a piece of real estate, or cash money, in order to exchange it for something else. And on the liquidity scale, gold is at this time more on the difficult side. A third disadvantage of gold is price volatility. The price of gold varies week to week, day to day, hour to hour. This is not a big problem if you are buying gold to hold it long term, especially if you're holding it for an emergency. But if you plan on utilizing your gold for trade, this is an issue. Another potential downside for holding physical gold is the risk of loss. Of course, if you got your hands on the metal, it can be lost, stolen, or suffer some type of casualty like a fire. The last risk I want to mention today is counterfeiting. There are some rather unscrupulous folks out there selling fake gold, and there's always a risk that one of us could buy some of the fake stuff. In sum, owning physical gold certainly isn't a perfect solution, but let's take a look at some of the advantages of holding gold. First, gold has a long history of being a reliable means of storing wealth. Even under the most dire economic circumstances, gold has historically retained most of its purchasing power. Also, because of gold's relative size to value ratio, it is relatively easy to transport, and because the metal is so durable, it is pretty easy to store. Another big advantage to having physical gold is that it can be secured from confiscation or impound. So is holding physical gold a good idea or a bad idea? Well, in my opinion, it's neither. There is no good or bad in gold. It is simply another tool available for us to use for planning purposes. Whether or not you should hold physical gold depends on each individual's facts and circumstances. And that's all I have to say on the subject for now. Thanks for watching. This is the Suburban Sentinel. Please thumbs up and subscribe if you like what you see. Questions, enlightening comments, and differing opinions are always welcome. Prep and be safe, everybody.